played clarinet back in the day. That was the instrument I played.
So I've been watching reruns of a show called Numbers.
Oh, number artists.
Charlie, David Humboldt's and oh, come on, I can't say.
Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society. My name is Kelly Aspruth Jackson, and I am one of the ministers here. This morning, I am joined by my colleague, the Reverend Kelly Crocker, and by the worship team of Linda Warren, Drew Collins, Stephen Gregorius, and Daniel Carnes. And a special welcome and thank you to our musical guest, Terry Felton. The vision of FUS is growing souls, connecting with one another, and embodying our UU values in our lives, our community, and our world. If you are visiting us today, welcome. We are so very glad that you are with us. If you would like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table located in the Commons just out those doors and to the left. We hope that you'll be able to stay with us and join us for coffee hour immediately after the service, also in the Commons. For those connecting with us virtually today, we are glad that you are with us as well. And we hope that you will be able to take a moment and watch the announcement slides after today's service to learn about upcoming programs and activities. And now, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence as we center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community. Come with your joy, your incurable curiosity, your hunger for hope.
But bring to your broken heart, your cracked confidence, your ruptured relationships. Let this today be a place of repair.
May the words spoken become webbing, weaving again a path back to wisdom, back to forgotten worth, back to a place of peace, now buried by all the striving, worry, and wounds.
May the sounds circling in this space sweep you up like a stream whose currents long to carry you home. And may the common breath shared between us remind you that we are tethered more tightly than it sometimes seems, that together our hearts can mend and our world can be woven anew.
Come, let us worship together.
And we invite you to rise in all the ways we do and join together in our chalice lighting. Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another.
And now let us sing together our opening hymn, number 57, All Beautiful, the March of Days. All beautiful, the march of days, as seasons come and go. The hand that shaped the rose hath wrought the crystal of the snow, hath sent the hoary frost of heaven
And I invite anyone who would like to come up closer for our story to come and join us up here. Happy New Year! Happy? What? Oh, a fox! Yes! You see the fox! Do you know this one, Summers? Yeah? Hi, guys. Happy New Year! Did you have a good New Year? Yeah? So our story today is about, what season are we in now? This is summer? What season are we in? Winter. I love the looks. Like, wait, what?
And also spring.
Are we in spring, you think, Elliot? Does it feel? It has. There have been days where it felt a little spring-like lately, but I have a feeling winter is still hanging around.
For 1 month or 2 months.
2 months, right? Till March? Yeah, we're getting there. So we're going to be talking today about winter and wintering. That's our theme for this month. So let's read this book about how animals take care of winter. And then I've got a question for you. A single snowflake floats through the air, spins, leaps, settles on the nose of a fine red fox. Winter is coming, says the fox. What should I do? I can tell you what to do, says a caterpillar. Wait to turn into a shiny chrysalis, and then you can wake to a butterfly spring. And the caterpillar crawls away to do just that. That won't do for me, says the fox. I don't like waiting. I can tell you what to do, a turtle calls. Tip your tail to the sky and swim down to bury yourself in the slick, cool mud. And the turtle does just that. That won't do for me, says the fox. Mud is much too muddy. Why else can't the fox do that?
Because I can't breathe underwater.
Exactly, you guys. Can a fox breathe underwater? No, that's not gonna work, is it? The turtle's down there buried in the mud. Let me tell you what to do, whispers a bat. Zig and zag and swoop into a cave, then hang by your toes and go to sleep. And the bat does just that. That won't do for me, says the fox. My toes would get tired.
I know why it can't do that.
What?
Because it can't hang upside down.
You don't think? Elliot doesn't think a fox can hang upside down. What do you guys think? What do you think?
How would it get up there?
What?
How would it get up there?
How would a fox get up there? That's a good point. Suction cups on its feet to climb up the cave wall and then hang upside down. Or turn into a bat. I think turning into a bat is just as likely as the fox having suction cups. Plop, an acorn drops from a tree. I can tell you what to do, chatters a squirrel. Gather, then quick, hide everything away. And he scampers off to do just that. That won't do for me, says the fox. I don't even like acorns. We will tell you what to do, geese honk from the sky. Flap your wings and fly away to warm days and silky, soft nights. He can't do that. And going, gone, the geese do just that.
Because he can't. To Canada.
He can't. To Canada!
That's where I'm going.
Wait a minute, isn't that the wrong direction? No, isn't that colder? Yeah. I don't know. Canada's a good option sometimes, huh? Okay. That won't do for me, says the fox. I belong here in the forest. A snowshoe hare hops by in his new winter coat. I can tell you what to do, he says. Turn yourself white to match the snow. And the snowshoe hare, who has done just that, disappears into the whitening world. That won't do for me, says the fox. I love my red fur. I can tell you exactly what to do, says a great black bear. Curl beneath the roots of a toppled balsam tree and tuck all your growls away. And the great black bear does just that. That won't do for me at all, says the fox. I am not a bit sleepy. Hush, the wind sighs. Hush. The fox lies down on the forest floor and puts his nose between his paws. The sun slides down the blue bowl of the sky. Hush, the wind says again. The fox hushes. More snowflakes land on his nose, and then there's a whistle. A white-tipped tail, golden eyes. Who is it? It's another fox. I'll tell you what to do, says a fine red fox, bowing low. When a million snowflakes fill the air, twirling, tumbling, spinning, waltzing, you and I join them. Of course, says the fox standing tall, because that's what we fine red foxes do in the winter. We dance. Has anybody ever seen a fox dance? Is this a thing? No? Is this just the story? I got really excited at the end of the story imagining foxes dancing in the snow. I know you guys read this book. So geese fly, snowshoe hares hide in the whitening snow, bears curl up in trees, foxes dance. What do humans do to get through winter? Drink hot chocolate. All right, I want us to try to keep track of these. Drink hot chocolate and eat pancakes. Play in the snow. Was there a hand over there? What do we do in the winter? Play inside. Tell me that one again. Oh, man. Snuggle on your couch with a big blanket. I gotta go. Sorry. Oh, no. All right. Sorry. No, work. Kelly, you've got the whole script. I'm gonna go snuggle on a couch under a big blanket. Tell me another one.
Going sledding and somehow getting yourself hurt.
Going sledding and hopefully not getting hurt, but if you do, you snuggle under the blanket. Snow in your face. Watching what?
Home Alone 2.
Watching.
Or Home Alone 1.
Watching Home Alone movies? Yeah, there's like 400 of them now. Yeah, what, Genevieve?
Snuggle on a couch and have a blanket over you while you're drinking hot cocoa while you're watching a movie.
Okay, Jen's pulling it all together for us. We are let's see if we can pull it all together. One more.
TV.
What's that?
TV.
TV.
And going skiing.
Skiing. Elliot?
Watching TV.
Watching TV.
All day.
All day? I'm coming to your house. Yeah, Cleo.
Reading in your book or just doing comics or maybe laying in bed late and sleeping in.
Okay, I'm loving. All right, we have a winter day. Are we ready? We're going to lay in bed and sleep in. We're going to maybe write in our journal. We're going to go sledding and skiing. And then we're going to come home and snuggle on the couch under blankets, drinking hot chocolate and watching Home Alone and eating pancakes. I believe you all just created the perfect day.
And reading.
And
watching children mysteries.
and reading I am here for reading the mysteries.
And watching TV all day.
Guys, why are we at church? What are we doing here?
And singing songs.
All right, you all. And singing, Drew wants us to sing a song. All right, you all. It's time. We're just going to cancel the rest of church and I'm going to hang out with you. All right, we're going to sing you out to classes. Thanks so much for talking with me about winter. Come here, tell me.
We have a fun song today. Let's have some fun. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. You ready to clap? And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of
invite you now into a time of giving and receiving where we give freely and generously to this offering which sustains and strengthens our community here, and also our outreach offering recipient, who this week is the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The UUSC advances human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. Their work is grounded in the belief that all people have inherent power and dignity. Now, a few of you out there this morning may have one of these boxes with you. If you don't worry about it. But if you do, just know that since the money you put in this box over the last month is going to the USC anyways, you can also turn in the box here this morning by leaving it on the table out front that you will see on your way out of the room. But for now, there are multiple ways that you can share your gifts for this offering. There are baskets now being passed in which you can place cash or checks. You can also see on the screen that you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org, and find the text to give information there as well. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
Thank you, Terry and Linda. We find ourselves once again in the depths of winter. This is the time of year when I find myself returning to a favorite poem from Billy Collins. It's called Shoveling Snow with Buddha. In the usual iconography of the temple, you would never see him doing such a thing, tossing the dry snow over a mountain of his bare, round shoulder, his hair tied in a knot, a model of concentration. Sitting is more his speed, if that is the word for what he does or does not do. Even the season is wrong for him. In all his manifestations, is it not warm or slightly humid? But here we are, working our way down the driveway one shovelful at a time. We toss the light powder into the clear air. We feel the cold mist on our faces, and with every heave, we disappear and become lost to each other in these sudden clouds of our own making, these fountain bursts of snow. This is so much better than a sermon in church, I say out loud. But Buddha keeps on shoveling. This is the true religion, the religion of snow and sunlight and winter geese barking in the sky, I say. But he is too busy to hear me. He has thrown himself into shoveling snow as if it were the purpose of existence, as if the sign of a perfect life were a clear driveway you could back the car down easily and drive off into the vanities of the world with a broken heater fan and a song on the radio. All morning long, we work side by side, me with my commentary and he inside his generous pocket of silence, until the hour is nearly noon and the snow is piled high all around us. Then I hear him speak. After this, he asks, can we go inside and play cards? Certainly, I reply, and I will heat some milk and bring cups of hot chocolate to the table while you shuffle the deck, and our boots stand dripping by the door. Ah, says the Buddha, lifting his eyes and leaning for a moment on his shovel before he drives the thin blade again deep into the glittering white snow. Why do I return to this poem again and again every year? I do love the image of shoveling snow with Buddha, the whimsical idea of him quietly heaving powdery snow over his shoulder in meditative silence. I, too, like Billy, would be most certainly chattering away at him while we worked. Or maybe it's the reminder of the simple joy to be found in hot cups of cocoa and games by a fire after a cold morning outside. Perhaps I long for the serenity of the Buddha in the face of cold, dark nights and days with no brilliant Wisconsin blue skies, just skies of overcast gray. Whatever we think of this season of winter, whether we meet it with excitement or dread, it is here. We are in it. And it is up to us to decide what we will do with these days ahead. As we begin a month's exploration into this theme of wintering, I wonder how it might become for us something of a spiritual practice to greet this season with openness and curiosity about what we might find here. For generations now, as the days darken and the blizzards come, the people of the world gather together to tell stories in the darkness. One of these stories comes from the Anishinaabe people who warned of the Wendigo. The Wendigo is the monster of winter. He drips with ice and he is white with snow and he is starving. Robin Wall Kimmerer, a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation and the author of the book Braiding Sweetgrass, remembers this story from her ancestors. She tells us that the Wendigo has a hunger that is never satiated, and it endangers everyone around him. He thinks only of himself. In winter, a time of scarcity, she continues, the Wendigo is a cautionary tale to remember the good of community beyond the self. Winter is known as the hungry time, the dangerous time, she says, and people count their age not by years, but by how many winters they have survived. That one has 70 winters, this one has 16. In winter time, she says, all of life is on that knife edge between life and death. Winter is a teacher of vulnerability. The hardship of winter cannot be denied, and it is a reminder that for much of human history, particularly in colder climates, winter was a season simply to be survived. Winter has been seen as a primal time of death and loss, often associated with a time for grief. Winter reminds us that darkness, not only light, is part of the recurring rhythm of what it means to be human. We learn as children how the animals and the natural world deal with the days of winter. We learn about hibernation. We watch for the geese traveling south in their distinctive V pattern. We marvel at the ones who stay behind, who linger here in the colder months. And we listen with rapt attention for the whistling of their wings. We may put out more bird seed at this time of the year. Maybe we indulge the squirrels when they land on the feeders, knowing that they too are cold and hungry. We learn all the careful preparations that animals make to endure the coldest months. We gaze upon the changes that take place in winter and know them to be a kind of alchemy, an enchantment performed by ordinary creatures to survive. In a book called Wintering, author Catherine May writes, "Plants and animals don't fight the winter. They don't pretend it's not happening and attempt to carry on living the same lives they lived in the summer. They prepare, they adapt, they perform extraordinary acts of metamorphosis to get them through. Winter is a time of withdrawing from the world, maximizing scant resources, carrying out acts of brutal efficiency and vanishing from sight. But that's where the transformation occurs. Once we stop wishing it were summer, winter can be a glorious season in which the world takes on a sparse beauty and even the pavement sparkles. It's a time for reflection and recuperation, for slow replenishment, for putting your house in order. It is a time for deeply unfashionable things, she says. Slowing down, letting your spare time expand, getting enough sleep, resting. This is a radical act now, but it is essential. Now, before we continue, I need to be honest with you for a minute. When I tell you that these things are unfashionable, I want to tell you that these things, rest and sleep, slowing down, these are not things that I excel at, nor are they things I often do. I have always felt out of sync with the season of winter. It is a time of inward reflection, a time to cozy up at home, a time to enjoy the simple pleasures, candles in the dark and all that. Yet for me, in this work I do, and for this one who shares the work with me, this is our busiest season. This disconnect is such a recurring truth in my life, a gnawing in my soul this time each year, that I have a clipping from May Sarton's Journal of a Solitude titled Winter, January 18th, printed inside one of my own journals. This is what May Sarton wrote. A little warmer this morning, 0 instead of 20 below, a strange, empty day. I did not feel well, lay around, looked at daffodils against the white walls, and twice thought I must be having hallucinations because of their extraordinary scent that goes from room to room. I always forget how important the empty days are, how important it may be sometimes not to expect to produce anything, even a few lines in a journal. I am still pursued by a neurosis about work inherited from my father. A day where one has not pushed oneself to the limit seems a damaged day, a sinful day, but not so. The most valuable thing we can do for the psyche occasionally is to let it rest, wander, live in the changing light of a room, not try to be or do anything whatever. What Catherine May and May Sarton are alluding to is that just as the earth has its seasons, its cyclical nature, we humans do as well. Catherine May says that we could think of winter as a period of time in our lives. Wintering, she says, is a season in the cold, a fallow period in life where you may feel cut off from the world, may feel rejected, blocked from progress, cast into the role of an outsider. No one would ever choose to enter a period of personal wintering, yet there's wisdom to be found in these seasons of our lives. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke revered winter as the season for tending to the inner garden of the soul. Suddenly, he wrote, to be healed again and aware that the very ground of my being, my mind and spirit, was given a time and a space to go on growing. And Albert Camus so famously said, in the depths of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. What Catherine May and May Sarton acknowledge, and the words of Rilke and Camus affirm, is that although we are not immune to the wintering seasons of our lives, if we learn to tend those winters well, we can find the summer of our strength and be more in touch with our fragile aliveness. Joyce Rupp learned this from looking at frost. She wrote, one winter morning, I awoke to see magnificent lines of frost stretching across my window panes. They seemed to rise with the sunshine and the bitter cold outside. They looked like little miracles that had been formed in the dark of night. I watched them in sheer amazement and marveled that such beautiful forms could be born during such a winter cold night. Yet as I pondered them, I thought of how life is so like that. We live our long, worn days in the shadows, in what often feels like barren, cold winter, so unaware of the miracles that are being created in our spirits. It takes the sudden daylight, some unexpected surprise of life, to cause our gaze to look upon a simple, stunning growth that has happened quietly inside us. Like frost designs on a winter window, they bring us beyond life's fragmentation and remind us that we are not nearly as lost as we thought we were. That all the time we thought we were dead inside, beautiful things were being born within us. It is not only that these periods of our lives need to be acknowledged, or that they are difficult periods to go through. We need to admit that it is countercultural to take time to rest. It is quite a revolutionary act. Tricia Hersey is the founder of the NAP ministry. And if you haven't seen her work, I encourage you to take a look. The organization is founded on the principle that rest is resistance and encourages us to fight back against what Hersey calls the grind culture, the systems in our society that see us only as producers and values our worth only in what we give, produce, make. You may see this work initially as nothing more than taking a nap, but it is powerful work in the dismantling of white supremacy culture and the grind of capitalist structures. Hersey says, you need to remember that you were not just born to center your entire existence on work and labor. You were born to heal, to grow, to be of service to yourself and community, to practice, to experiment, to create, to have space, to dream, to connect. Rest allows you to get in touch with your imagination, and imagination is one of the most powerful modes of resistance that oppressed and exploited folks can do and use. Take the time to imagine the world you want to live in and who you want to be in that world. What would our lives look like if we expected periods of wintering? If instead of thinking them as these fallow, cold periods, we considered regular times of renewal as a spiritual practice, as a form of resistance through which we stretched our imaginations of what could be. This is transformational because we would need to stop running. We would need to listen to ourselves, to the cycles of our life, to our own rhythms. Then we could find the space we need to dream of new ways of being. Again, let me remind you that this is not something I personally have been able to bring into my own life. Honestly, at this point, in reading and reflecting, thinking about what I was learning, I did the thing so very common when we are uncomfortable and uneasy. I found a really good distraction of social media. And while I was doing this on my phone, y'all know this motion, I was scrolling. I noticed that a friend and colleague of ours had shared a poem, and it caught my eye. It was by Lila Chatty, and it was titled, "I Went Out to Hear." The sound of quiet. The sky indigo steeping deeper from the top like tea. In the absence of anything else, my own breathing became obscene. I heard the beating of bats' wings before the air troubled, and I turned to look, and I saw them gone. On the surface of the black lake, a swan and the moon stayed perfectly still. I knew this was a perfect moment, which would only hurt me to remember and never live again. My God, how lucky to have lived a life I would die for. These words were like an icy cold grip on my heart. All I could think was, yes, this is it. This is what I've been trying to say with all of these words and all of these stories. These moments come and go, and we so often miss them in the busyness of our days. To notice them, the color of the sky, the surface of the lake, how much we love these days, these lives, and how much it hurts to know that they will all one day end. This is the work of wintering, the insights we gain with rest, how we learn what matters, how we find the invincible summer within. If we were to see wintering as a spiritual practice, an intentional time of rest, there are a few things we can hold close. Please remember, I'm learning this with you. First of all, when wintering, when you are in a colder, darker time in your life, it doesn't mean that there is something wrong. It means you need to rest, to listen, to remember that these seasons, they're all part of the deal of living. For plants and animals, winter is part of the job, and this is true for humans as well. Another learning comes from Catherine May, who tells us that when you are wintering, treat yourself like a favored child with kindness and love. Say what you need. Keep yourself fed. Rest. Take long walks in fresh air if you can. Spend time in nature somehow. Ask yourself, what is this winter about for you? Remember to find the smallest bits of beauty around you. Be amazed by snow and how it shimmers as it falls. Look at frost. Let it surprise you and thrill you as it did when you were young. And tell stories. Use this time of wintering to get in touch again with your imagination. For thousands of years, humans have told stories like the Wendigo or shoveling with Buddha. Tell stories that make you think, make you laugh, make you imagine new worlds and new possibilities. Gather with loved ones and tell the stories of your own wintering and what you have learned. In the month ahead, I hope you will join us in asking what winter means for you. What is the story you want to tell this winter? What do you want to imagine? What could a spiritual practice of wintering mean for us together here? Whatever lies ahead for you this season, may you remember to rest, to hear the geese barking overhead, to spend a day watching the light move across a room, to do the radical act of caring for your own wintering, so you can return to the world refreshed, with a dream in your heart, a story to tell, ready for the coming of spring.
Each week we gather, carrying in our hearts the joys and losses of our days. We hold our own pain and celebration, and those of the ones we love. We share these here, knowing they are held gently in care and in support and in love. We light a candle of love and memory for Jim Coulson, who passed away on Christmas Eve morning. We send our love to his wife, Pat, sons Kevin and Kent, and their families, as they miss Jim's kind and gentle soul. A memorial service will be held for Jim on April 29th. Reverend Kelly Crocker asks us to light a candle for her cousin Max as he recuperates from neurosurgery following a car accident on Friday evening. We send our love and prayers of strength and healing to Max and his whole family and to you as they begin the long journey of recovery. And we light a candle in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, both in their suffering and in their struggle. Together we yearn for peace for them and for all people, and for an end to all wars of conquest anywhere and everywhere on earth. I would invite you now to join me in a moment of meditation with these words from Amanda Pape. My friends, we have arrived. We are here in this new year. We have crossed the boundary of time into the next year with all its resolutions and plans and schedules ahead of us. Let us pause for just this moment before we move boldly onward. Let us pause here to hear the breathing of those around us, to feel their presence in this room, to know their presence in our lives. Let us pause to consider the trees, their branches stripped bare, their elegant architecture on display. Let us pause to feel the spirit of life and love that ties us to each other, that winds its way through our very bones and settles in our hearts. Before we move forward, armed with resolutions that will shortly be forgotten in the day-to-day of living, let us notice what it is that remains every year, every day. What exists beyond schedules and months, beyond time. It welcomes us to life, not just at the start of the year, but every day. And let us answer it. Amen.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a And now let's rise in body and our spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 165, When Windows That Are Black and Cold. When windows that are black and cold are lit anew with fires of gold, when dusk and night shall descend, and darkness come once more a friend. When wings pursue their proper flight, and bring not terror but delight, when clouds are innocent again, and hide no storms of deadly rain. And when the sky is swept of wars, and keeps not gentle moon and stars, that peaceful sky that harmless air, how sweet the darkness there.
May you know fully and deeply the blessings of each of your heart seasons, the inward turning of winter, springtime's lush renewal, the effortless steady growth of summer, and autumn's rich harvest. May your passage from season to season be blessed, eased by hands to hold, and by the light of love to guide you on. Blessed be. Go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.